This is the wood materials delivery induction for the Longreach Mill and Export Terminal. This site is operated by Foraco Proprietary Limited and is located in the Tamar Valley. Foraco owns and operates an integrated business for the production of various wood-based products grown from their own plantation estates, which are predominantly located across the north of Tasmania. The site also receives, holds and loads pine chips from Timberlink. Foraco engage specialist contractors to harvest and then transport logs and in some cases wood chips and processed waste material to and from the mill and export terminal at Longreach. Logs are further processed for export. As transport contractors, you form one of the links between Foraco's two main operational divisions of forestry and processing. All transport arrangements between the forestry coupe and the mill site are made to standards specified by Foraco. These are contractual arrangements in which the contractor principals are charged with the health, safety and environmental management aspects of these work areas. Timberlink coordinate their chip delivery utilising their own contractors. Foraco utilise various contractors for wood chip, wood fines and bark waste materials. Within the mill site, all log or chip delivery processes are managed by Foraco. Any person who enters a Foraco managed work site is required to operate under our terms and conditions. This induction provides information that, as a heavy vehicle driver, you need to know for the safe and consistent delivery of wood materials to Foraco's Longreach Mill. You must know of, understand and comply with Foraco's safety, health and environmental requirements. In order to enter and work at this Foraco site, you must have successfully completed this induction process. You will be provided with a transport induction assessment form that you must complete correctly. If you require assistance with reading or other skills in order to complete the assessment, please let your site contact know before undertaking the assessment. When you pass the competency assessment, you will be provided with an access identification card. This card will expire in 2 years. After this, you will need to repeat the induction assessment for a new card. Foraco has a collection of policy documents that you must be aware of. The policies provide high-level direction as to how Foraco manage environmental and work health and safety compliance requirements. This includes our policy on alcohol and other drugs. Copies of these policies will be provided to you as part of a package to support this induction process. When inside the mill site property boundary, it is a requirement that drivers comply with Foraco's directions. Essentially, this can be done by undertaking your duties in accordance with Foraco's documented standard operating procedures or operating as directed by the site staff members. If you're ever unsure of any particular requirement, the site's management team can be consulted. See the page included in your induction pack for useful Foraco site staff contact names and details. As well as completing the induction assessment, all truck drivers are to be inducted into Foraco's Standard Operating Procedures, SOP. This is for the safety of you and all other workers. Log delivery drivers are to be inducted to 3 SOPs, while pine chip delivery drivers are to be inducted to 1. Contractors involved in waste removal need to complete the Transport of Product SOP. Induction to an SOP involves you read the procedure. There is opportunity for you to ask questions for clarification if required. When you are confident you understand the details within the SOP, you will be required to sign a form acknowledging that you understand your accountabilities. You'll be supplied with a printed copy of the original for your reference. Printed copies may become outdated as our procedures are updated. Consequently, all inductions must be renewed when this occurs, or at least every 2 years. You will be informed and supplied with new procedures as they are updated. Once you have acknowledged an SOP, you'll be expected to operate in strict compliance with all elements of that procedure. Also note that if you undertake any task other than those described by the SOP, you must first obtain approval from Foraco's site management. Provide Foraco with assurance that adequate risk control measures are in place. This includes tasks where you need to work outside your vehicle, such as maintenance work, like replacing tyres, anywhere on the site's access road or within the mill site. You must wear PPE when you are within the mill site and outside your vehicle. The minimum requirements for the site are helmet, high-vis vest or shirt, with day-night reflective stripes, protective cap boots and eye protection. Gloves and hearing protection may also be required or advisable depending on your task. Contractors are expected to provide their own PPE. If you observe a hazard or are involved in an incident that has any safety, health or environmental implications while on a Foraco site, it is a mandatory requirement you report the issue to your usual Foraco staff contact. This includes near misses, damage to equipment or inappropriate behaviour. The delivery routes for all heavy vehicle drivers are shown on this map, which is also included with your induction package. As you will see from the map, the Longreach Mill site commences at the junction of the Mill Access Road and the East Tamar Highway. This is the point at which Foraco's management responsibilities and authorities commence. Speeds on site from the highway intersection are also shown on this map. They are 60 kilometres per hour from the intersection to the railway bridge, 40 kilometres per hour from after the bridge to the top of the hill, and 20 kilometres per hour from the top of the hill down to the weighbridge and throughout the site. The speed onto the weighbridge is 5 kilometres per hour. Note, the maximum speed allowed within the mill site after the weighbridge is 20 kilometres per hour. Make sure your radio is on UHF 26 before entering onto the weighbridge. For all trucks entering via the weighbridge that need to weigh in, the map indicates the area where incoming trucks can cross from their left-hand side of the road to the right, so they have a straight-on approach to the weighbridge deck. Drive slowly and carefully onto the weighbridge to avoid sudden movements. The stop-go light will stay red until your weight is red and there is an available space for log trucks to queue for the D-twitcher. For log truck drivers, all log-R dockets must be created using the app while you are inside the coupe boundary, so the correct coupe will appear in the app. Complete all the fields to create the docket up to the weigh-in section. If there are any log-R app issues during your trip, you will need to stop at the weighbridge and ask the operator to do a manual docket. When on the weighbridge, select Begin Weigh-In on the log-R app. If the weight on the app matches the weighbridge reading and the truck trailer registration are correct, choose Accept Weight and then select Complete to complete that section of the process. Once the light at the weighbridge turns green, you can proceed to the D-twitcher station. This station is the only location on site where log load restraints are permitted to be removed. This must be completed by you, the driver. All appropriate PPE must be worn from this point, including eye protection. Use the foot pedal to engage the D-twitcher arms and remember to start the D-twitching process from the rear of the truck, then moving forward. Once all restraints have been removed, retract the D-twitcher arms. When the unloading area is empty, drive your truck around in a U-turn ready for unloading. Before unloading can start, you must park your truck, get out of the cab and walk to the safe haven. You must be in the safe haven before the Wagner driver can start unloading. Use the UHF radio in the safe haven to talk to the Wagner driver to alert them of any unloading issues and confirm they have correctly secured the bunk load before lifting. When unloading is completed, return to your truck and drive forward to the weighbridge. If possible, you can fold up prior to leaving the unloading area before going back over the weighbridge and exiting the site. Make sure you have enough room to line up with the weighbridge. Either side of the weighbridge can be used, but the northern side is only useful for folded or short trailers and medium to heavy rigid vehicles. On the weighbridge, check that the weight and truck trailer registration are correct on your log-R app and select Accept Weight and then Complete. This will accept the load and complete the docket. You will then drive off the weighbridge and exit the immediate mill area and out to the highway. You can also fold up using ramps on the left halfway up the hill or at the parking area at the top of the hill. Trucks are not to fold up while on the weighbridge. Next, we will look at the pathway for the pine woodchip trucks. As a driver of a pine woodchip truck, you will enter the mill area from the highway and drive to the pine plant area indicated on the map. Drive into the area and circle around so you have a straight reverse line into the unloading area. Stop, exit the truck and pull any trailers in as needed. Walk to the control booth and start the discharge process as detailed in the Pine Plant SOP. Once the process is completed, keep the area clean by using the brooms supplied to sweep away spilled chips before you leave. Remember to give way to any log trucks as you exit. A summary of emergency procedures can be found posted in work areas around the site. You'll find an emergency plan map in your induction package showing firefighting infrastructure and 2 emergency assembly areas. If you need to report an emergency situation, the weighbridge staff should be your first point of contact. If a fire breaks out, your first response should be to report the fire using the All Station Alert on UHF Channel 26. A secondary response, if it is safe to do so, is to combat the fire with the available infrastructure until the site fire crew attends and thereafter follow directions from the fire crew. If it is necessary to evacuate the site, an evacuation alarm will be triggered from the weighbridge, which sounds like this. If you hear the evacuation alarm, move promptly and with caution to your closest emergency assembly area and wait for further instructions. If it is necessary, contact the site's management team directly. Telephone numbers are shown here. While experienced drivers are used to the crossover zone, this information is now being routinely communicated to all persons who are engaged on the site. However, we remind all heavy vehicle drivers to exercise caution when undertaking this manoeuvre, as casual visitors will remain unaware of this practice. The crossover manoeuvre should only be carried out if the pathway is clear and at the speed limit of 20 kilometres an hour or less. Stop, wait, and use your indicators or radio to communicate with other road users as appropriate. There are standards of behaviour that must be observed by everyone on Foraco's operational sites. Harassment, discrimination, victimisation or vilification will not be tolerated, nor will theft or unauthorised removal of materials from the site. A security search of vehicles on site may be carried out at any time. In accordance with Foraco's alcohol and other drugs policy and procedure, we require that all workers must be fit for work and not attend site when under the influence of alcohol or an illicit substance. It is important to note that Foraco undertakes random testing of all persons at site using an independent company, and as a contractor, you may be tested. If you want more details on this, please ask the weighbridge operator. Some medications can negatively affect your ability to work safely and protect the health and safety of others. If you are unsure about whether a medication you take or have taken recently could present an issue, please raise this with your manager. Other standards of behaviour include smoking is only permitted in the main car park at the supplied shelter, where there is a secure disposal point, and is prohibited at all other locations on site. Fire hoses are not to be used for washdowns. Do not bring pets onto site. Seatbelts are to be worn at all times while inside the truck. Be considerate of all other drivers, particularly of large plant that have restricted visibility. Disposal of all waste material and litter must only be in the identified waste bins and skips. Remember, the speed limit inside the mill site is 20 kilometres an hour. Contamination of Foraco's operational processes or products is a serious matter for the company and our customers. A contaminant is any material other than a wood chip which may become mixed in with or becomes attached to the pure wood chip products. Contaminants can be man-made or natural. They could be plastics, rubber, metal, oil, and other lubricants or fuels or wood other than a wood chip, base materials, rocks or charcoal. You must make every effort to prevent contamination of our wood chip and other products, processes and equipment. Contamination will not be tolerated. Foraco's operational sites are managed carefully to minimise environmental risks and impacts. The 2 key environmental issues relating to you as heavy vehicle drivers are the potential for oil spills and the subsequent disposal of any oily contaminated materials, and noise. It is important to note that noise from the Longreach site is regulated under the Environmental Management and Pollution Control Act. While your trucks are on the Foraco property, the noise they make is included within these regulated site limits. These regulations place progressively lower noise levels limits for day, evening and night when measured at any nearby sensitive location, such as a residential property. Noise emissions from exhaust brakes in particular tend to have a low or bass tone. These noise waves will travel great distances before they die off as a result. Foraco have set a requirement that exhaust brakes on heavy vehicles are not to be used on entry after trucks pass under the railway line on the access road. What is chain of custody? For forest product industries, the chain of custody traces the path taken by products from the forest to the consumer. This includes every stage of harvesting, haulage, processing, manufacturing and distribution. Progress between stages of the supply chain can involve a change of ownership. Chain of custody certification of Foraco's business systems is designed to provide a credible guarantee to our customers and all other business we supply. Certification guarantees the product originates from well-managed certified forests. As a consequence, Foraco has strict requirements and systems in place, enabling us to trace each and every load of logs or wood chips which pass through our processing sites. These traceability requirements will be clearly communicated to you, and your ongoing compliance with these requirements is compulsory. General amenities on the site include toilets located in the Visitors Centre as marked on the site map. Report to the weighbridge if you need any first aid or medical assistance. All Foraco staff are trained in first aid. Make sure your radio is on UHF channel 26 for all site communication. As UHF is a public band, do not use profane language at any time while using the UHF. This completes the Foraco long-reach mill truck driver induction presentation. Please complete all the induction assessment questions and hand it to the Foraco staff member overseeing your induction process. They will check the form and make sure all your answers are correct. Any incorrect answers will be discussed and corrected with you. Once the assessment answers are correct, check the form is fully completed and then sign the form. An induction card can then be made for you. This will either be given to you at the time or it will be ready for pickup the next time you are on site.